Alright, as I told you, so we will start to revisit and recall our basic concept of building iframe page as an HTML or web application. Maybe before I begin, I need to move downward. Right in here, over here, I think it's good. And simple things, you just need to, if you already installed your Visual Studio Code and you follow some instructions that I mentioned on the 5th meeting, I still remember that I suggest you to install some extensions, for example A-frame completion and some other useful extensions, basic extension for web developer. Please make sure that you have it for now. For example, what other else? Maybe the live server, so you can run on your browser directly without any necessary installation on the web server. Okay, and then the live share is important if you want to check my environment, my shared environment. I'm sorry. And what other else? The other I think is still fine. Path IntelliSense, if you think that it's still okay for you to install, I also suggest you to install this. Yeah, I think that's all. Yeah, and please have a try. We will just gonna use Emmet, E-M-M-E-T. There's a features in Visual Studio Code to generate the HTML page, something like this. Just type exclamation mark and then press enter. So this is what you need. So this is a default HTML page, and then type basic scene for the title, and then this is the most important part. So we need to include the A-frame library URL as a script as source. So script source, something like this, and the source will be, let's have a check on our browser. Just type A-frame. I believe you will see get started over here. So this URL, just put it on your scene, something like this. And then meanwhile typing our codes, if you haven't yet installed Mozilla Firefox, I suggest you to install it, or you can use Mozilla or Google Chrome, but I prefer Mozilla for the testing. So I'm just gonna use Mozilla later for my application. So let's go with the basic scene. So we are good to go now. We can start to create our scene. So everything on A-frame should be written between a scene tag. So this is how it works. So I'll just gonna type a scene. You can work this way. I'm sorry. Yeah, a scene. Gosh, it doesn't work in here. Just for a scene it doesn't work. Okay, that's okay. A scene. So everything should be typed within the a scene tag. And for example, we want to let's draw a sphere. Sphere should be a sphere, something like this. And then to modify its properties, we simply type its attribute, for example, its color. is yellow, for example. So it's like the HTML that we have learned in the third or fourth semester on your web programming course. So something like this, and then the radius maybe is 0.5. 0.5 in here means that later if you open this application using head-mounted display, you will view the size of the sphere approximately half meter. Okay, it's approximately half meter, so the unit is in meter in this matter. Okay, and then for example, if we want to, so let's see, can we see something from here? Let's check. Open with live server. I'm just gonna use this one. Oh, there's nothing. Okay. Wait. Oh yeah, we need to define the position first. So I believe the sphere is on the center. So the same with the camera. So let's define the position. Let's put it maybe x is 0, the y is 1.5 meters above the surface, above the earth, and then -3. So as you still remember that if we move forward far away from the camera, the direction, the value is getting minus. Okay, if we move backwards, so it's going inside the camera, something like that, so it's a plus. It means that if we put it in minus, the value is minus, it means that it's 3 meters in front of us. Okay, so let's see. Yes, so this is the sphere. Okay, so we got the sphere already. Now let's say, for example, we want to maybe let's put it on the right side, because we want to draw yet another object, for example a box. And for the attribute, let's put another color, for example in this matter we can use semantic color. You just type the name of the color in English, or you can use the hexacode. Okay, for example, if we want to use the same color, yellow, then the R and G should be like this. Okay, and let's put the color, I'm sorry, the box maybe now is, let's put it on the center, or maybe on the left side, so it's the same height and the same depth, so it's gonna be this way. Okay, so we have two colors, two objects on our application. Now let's have another draw. If, for example, we want to, maybe I'm just gonna change this to pink, and then if you want to draw in wireframe, so it's just like the bones of that geometry, you can set the wireframe as true, so something like this. Okay, and maybe it's too far away from each other, so I'm just gonna use this way. Okay, this is pretty good. Now if you want to rotate your object, you can also do the similar thing, just like the position. So type rotation, and it's a pretty different with the 3JS, because everything in 3JS is in radian. In A-frame everything is in degree. So if you want to rotate 45 degree, for example, along the y-axis, just type something like this. So this is the rotation along the x-axis, the y-axis, the z-axis. So we're gonna make it this way. So along the y-axis means it's a yawing. X-axis is I think is pitching, and the z-axis is rolling. Right. So this is the way we transform our object in airframe. It's very simple. And another example of transformation will be scaling. So let's make it, for example, let's set the box a bit taller, so the y-axis will be twice comparing to others. Then this is the result. So that is the basic of the scene. So I think this is a very easy to follow, and yeah, we can commit this. Basic scene done. If you have any question, please directly open the microphone and proceed your question. Otherwise, I'll just gonna continue the workshop. Now let's move to the next one. So we are going to work on the texture. So here in the texture, if you want to have a texture, you need to put it inside tag asset. Okay, asset. Okay, so this you can use assets with as or just asset. Both work. So there's no problem. Just pick any, and then you put the image that you want to use for the texture in here. Okay, you can check in here. Actually, I have just included the images. I'm sorry, not this one. Texture on the folder texture bricks. I'm sorry. Yeah, this one. So we will need this, and then we give some ID. The base, the normal. The base is for coloring the flat, your geometry, and the normal is for the normal map. If you forgot about the normal map, you may check our graphics course. So when I talk about the lighting, so one of the element that is necessary to build a correct shading is a normal map. Okay, now, okay, so we have the asset already. Now let's create the object. For example, let's create a box. Let's have a box, and then if we want that box to use some of the texture defined on the asset, then we need to declare it in the src or the source attribute. So just put it like this, and then we mention the ID of the image. So in this case, we will use the base, but with some hashtag, I'm sorry, some hash symbols in the front of the ID, something like this. Okay, and then if we want to wait, before we move further, we need to set the position as usual. It's very important. Since we use the texture, so we do not necessarily define the color. So the position is, for example, we put it on the left right now, just like before, but maybe a bit closer to the camera. Let's do it this way. I'm sorry, this one should be texture. All right, the wow, the brick is not loaded. Wait, I need to check. Is there any problem with the load? Wait, the source is done. Or maybe we need to define the normal. I'm sorry, yeah, the normal is necessary. That's the normal map. So in here we need to write the normal map attribute and set it similarly to the I'm sorry guys, this is not SCR, this is SRC. Yeah, finally. Okay, so this is the correct one. If you want to move the camera, just use your mouse. Okay, something like this. And then if you want to move the camera, this is to rotate your camera. And if you want to move the position of your camera, use the arrow key on your keyboard. Okay. And if you want to move forward, backward, you can do it as well using the keyboard. Moving forward by pressing up key and down key for the moving backwards. Okay. And if you want to check the VR view, you can click on the bottom right of the screen. So you will have the, I'm sorry, where is that? WebXR. Yeah, this is the stereo effect. And yeah, this is another plugin that you need to prepare. Actually, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention it in the beginning. So you need to install the WebXR on your Google Chrome or on your Mozilla Firefox. Just type it WebXR emulator, something like this, and then you will get it. Just install it on your browser. Okay. Then in here you can, for example, if I want to move my camera, I can click on the head-mounted display over here, and then, for example, I want to move it leftward, so I click on the red. I'm sorry, I drag on the left. Yeah, this line. If you want to move backward, you can press on the blue one. And if you want to move on 2 degrees of positional movement, then you can press on this rectangle. Okay, you can also rotate, yawing, rolling, or pitching your view by clicking the head-mounted display once more, and then use the similar technique. For example, the red one is for, I think this one is for pitching, something like this. This is for pitching, and the green one is for the yawing. The blue one is for the rolling. And if you want to reset it, then just reset the pose, so it will reset to the to the initial position and orientation. And usually during the test, I'm just gonna neglect the stereo effect. I'm just gonna use this mode instead. All right, now let's create another object. This sphere that we have on the previous. Yeah, I should not delete this. Yeah, it's just I think it's okay for you to retype it again. And for this one, the source is the same. Let's check if they have the similar texture, what will happen. And put the position for this case is on the right side, the same height and the same depth. All right, I think this one is, we are good to go. This is the result. So maybe I can click in here and move backward. Oh, we need to refresh this one. Oh, I forgot to press the VR. Okay, so this is the result. So as you can see, maybe I'm just gonna use the regular mode. I deactivate the VR for now. So this is the result. It's a bit different. I think their implementation, the texture implementation on the sphere and the box, but the way we do it is pretty much the same or exactly the same. So this is the two things that we need to apply to the geometry, to the mask that we have. So if we want to use the texture, let's learn some advanced technique. For example, we want to make the texture in more detail. So basically for now it's like one face was deployed with was attached with the one picture, one image. If we want to repeat, for example, make it like two times or twice horizontally, then we need to define the repeat attribute as maybe 2, something like this. Let's check. Yeah, so this is only for the horizontal. If we want to define both for the horizontal and vertical, then we need to do it this way. Okay, the similar one with the sphere. That's the basic idea. Now let's try to apply the normal map. If you check the current implementation, you can see that this is just a matter of picture actually. So there is no specific implementation of depth or lighting that's applied to the texture. To enhance the quality of this texture, we can use the normal map. For example, doing this way, normal map, and we type the ID over here in here, and we got the problem now. You see here, it's like something missing on our code, and yes, it's because we apply some repetition on the texture but not on the normal map. So we need to also repeat the normal map. So it should be normal texture repeat 2 by 2, and this is perfect. Now you can see that it looks like that the texture have some virtual depth. Seems like the red part is higher than the gray one, and the way it works, actually we can check on the file is here, the texture, the normal mapping here. So the closer the color to blue, it will result in the higher surface or higher level. And if we do it this way, we can easily understand that all the things with the blue is kind of on the top position, on the higher layer comparing to other parts. Okay, so that's the way the normal map works. And yeah, I think that's the if maybe for another one is the height, but I just gonna leave you to learn by yourself. You can check on the A-frame documentation about the texture. There are a bunch of properties, attributes that we need to dig more actually. And where's the texture? Not in here. yeah, it is includes on the materials, I believe. Repeating texture in here. Wow, this is with I think this is more advanced. Alright, so it's okay. Basically, I'm just gonna leave you to dig more about another properties, so we can move to the next module. I'm just gonna commit this one. Number 2. Texture done. Okay, now let's move to the next file, lighting. So far we applied, I think that's the normal the lighting with the mesh basic materials, something that we learned from the 3GS mesh basic material. So we apply like a uniform or homogeneous, similar lighting across the surface of the geometry that we have. And for now, what's the problem? Oh gosh. Oh yeah, I have another problem again. It's always like this. I need to restart my Visual Studio Code, sorry. Okay, I update the live share link if you want to join over here. All right, now let's talk about lighting. Okay, so far this is the objects, the scene without the light. So let's try to run this at first. How does it look like? Okay, so we have three different objects, actually 6, because this gray object is also box, okay, with a different, and I think it's not different, yeah, it's a bit different color, but it's okay. So basically this is what we have. So red box, yellow box, and green box. Let's put some general light first, the simplest one. So the ambient, maybe. Hopefully you still remember about the ambient light. Let's put light over here. So for adding light into the scene, same, just put the tag inside the A scene tag, and for the light specific tag is a light, something like this. And we here, as the attribute, we need to specify the type. The type is ambient, for example. This is the ambient light. And then we need to specify the intensity, the factor, okay? So if the same, then it's gonna be this way. So this is the gray. So 20% light, white light. If we want to, let's try. If we want to have a, for example, just red light. we can use something like this. Oh, still the same. So wait, the intensity. Oh, okay, I think the maybe we need to do it this way. No, this is not how it works. So I think, yeah, it's a uniform. It's a bit different with the concept that I use on computer graphics. So it is a apply uniform in as a uniform. So it's a bit. So it means that, I'm sorry, it's a 0.2. So this is the most simple one.
Sorry, sir.
Ambient light.
The code map.
Yeah. So you mean should we work with? It's the same. Yeah, I think it doesn't work this way. Okay. So it applies the same for the red, green, and blue. All of them are multiplied by 1/5 or 20%. So this is the simple light, the ambient light. Now let's try to apply the point light. Maybe if we want to have a point light, the same, just use the A light, and then the type is point. The intensity is for example 80%, and the difference between ambient light and point light, a point light has a position. Point light have a position. For example, let's define the positions on let's say, let's put it on, this one is on the height of 1.5. all the object is on 0.5, right? Oh no, not all of them. Wait, this is higher than others. Then normally the position will be on 0.0.0, so it should be the same location as the camera. Okay, if we want to put it on another location, then we need to define its position on its attribute. For example, let's put it on the same height as the box one, and it should be over here then, and put it on the left side in here maybe. I'm sorry, minus maybe. This one it should be, I think let's put it on the -2 maybe, -2, and the same depth, -3. Sorry, yeah. So here we go, we got the, oh no, it's not here, -2 in here. I think we need to move it a bit leftward. Not working as we expect. Wait, 1.5. Is what if we put it a bit higher than others? Okay, it moved higher, but the position should, oh, so the position is in around here. It's around here. Or if we want to put it maybe under the red box, so then just, where's the box number 2? This is the, okay, no, this is not the box number 2. Where the red box is, the red box is this one. So it's the 1.5. The X is 0. Let's put it under the box. It's also maybe 0, and the depth is minus. So the light is over here. The light is over here, and so on. You can play with it. So that's the way we define the point light. Right, and then what next? Maybe we can try the directional. I can just maybe comment this one. Let's go with the directional light. The type is directional. The position means the factor, okay? The factor that, maybe for example, let's put it a bit rightward and on the same height with the red box. Okay, for example, 1.5 minus 3, I think. And the intensity is 1. And let's see the angle. Maybe we can set the angle as 30 degree. So let's see how it works. So the result is, so we have such kind of a light over here. So it comes from here to that direction, okay, to that direction. So the light is over here, come to that direction. But since it is not point light, then the result, we didn't see the surface accept, the fragments accept the same intensity. Okay, so that's the directional. And if we want to target just one, let's see, maybe we can try this one. We can also, I think we can target just one of the object. So for example, let's target the yellow one. Okay, by doing this, oh, it's still the same. So the target, it doesn't work. Yeah, I think the target, it doesn't work. The target only for the next light that we will try. This one is done, and then the last one we will try the spotlight. Oh, just spot, I'm sorry. And then let's put the position on, for example, 2.0. I'm just gonna use the integer, and then the intensity is the same. Let's just make it 1, and then the angle in, yeah, I think the angle will matter. Yeah, this is the spotlight. We put it over here. So this is, the location is around this one. So it's about on the top of the box number 1 actually, this one, the red box. And on the spotlight, I think we can specify what's so-called penumbra. So it's like a, it's like a soft gradation on the circle on the side, and we can specify, you can play with the numbers actually, and this is the result. So we can make it soft, etc. And we can also, this is the position, right? We can also target, instead of using the angle, we can use the target, I think. For example, we want to spot the box number 3. So this is the result. So it will spot the number 3. The light is actually around the same position with the camera, our camera right now. So it's about in here 0.0.0, but with the height of 2. So we move upward. If we want to make it downward, for example, just from the bottom of the boxes or on the surface of, or on the surface, for example, this way. So it's gonna be a different thing. So you can play with this as well. All right. We can also change the target to another box. This is box number 2. This is the box number 1. Okay, cool. So this is about the light. Now let's try to move to the next one. I'm just gonna commit this one. Light is down. Okay. Next one, I would like to introduce you about the inspector. So on the inspector, here we have several objects. So let's see. I'm just gonna change the Firefox to module number 4, inspector HTML. So this is the object that we have. And to activate, I put some notes in here. Yeah. To activate the inspector, please press Control or Command if you are using Mac, Alt I. Control Alt I. So it's gonna load the inspector, and in here you can see the tree of the entities under the async, all of them, including the objects and the cameras. So for example, if you click in here, you can see your box that you have created. You can check in here. This is the box number 1, box number 2, a box number 3, and yet another box that we define using entity. Okay, so we can define the objects using, actually for this one we can use a cone, something like this. But as an alternative, you can also use an entity. So it's a general tag for all the geometry, not only geometry, something that is not considered as geometry. We can also use a entity to represent that. And if we use entity, the different thing will be we need to specify the geometry. Okay, we need to specify the geometry, and inside the geometry it will works like a CSS. So geometry material is we call it as a components in this matter. In A-frame we call it components. Okay, component geometry, component material, and this is also actually component. Okay, I'm sorry, this is not component, this is just attributes, but we can also consider that as a component. So basically component can have a single value. This is considered as a single value component. This one is a multiple value component. Why is multiple value? Because it's just like a CSS. We can set a multiple attributes for this component. Okay, for example, this is the attribute of the component geometry. The primitive is the attribute, the value is cone, and then the materials is the component. It has a color attribute, and the value is some colors in here. All right, some regular geometry, just like a box, can also have components. Okay, and for its geometry component, we can just leave it as an empty. Okay, we do not necessarily need to fill it, but for other component we can redefine its attribute. So for example, you can see in here the box number 1 over here. This is box number 1. In the beginning we define it as red, right? This is a, I think it's a total red. Let's see. I want to remove this one. Let's see. So this is red, and then I put it here, I'm sorry, and this is the pink color. Okay, Control add I, and actually I got this definition from the inspector. So oppositely, we can also get some attribute from inspector and put it in our code. For example, and this is very useful. The inspector is very useful, especially if we want to debug our visuals, our objects inside the WebXR. We can wait. This is right change our frame watcher. Okay, for example, we want to modify our this one, box number 3. Okay, we have a box number 3 over here. Okay, so let's see. I would like to you can check on the right side, this one, or maybe I need to move to the left side. Give me a moment. Okay, so you can check on here. So maybe let's change the scale. Let's make it bigger on all sides, 2 to 2. Okay, something like this. And then we copy the entity, this entity, to the clipboard. Okay, and then paste it here on our original file. Let's compare it. So in the beginning, this was the initial definition, the attribute that we have from the A-box tag, and then after doing some modification through the inspector properties over here, by scaling the box up to twice, here as a result we have a new attribute, which is the scale 2 to 2. This is as a result of having a modification from the property over here. We can also change the color, for example, and basically all the properties that we have on this side, you can modify all of them and have this the new attribute and paste it back to your code. Right, you can play with this later. And as the color, maybe I would like to have like, for example, gray color, something like this. Okay, and copy it again. We can also just copy the materials part, so we can put it here, but somehow it's a bit too much, so it's like pasting the whole things, even though we do not change the value. So maybe I'm just gonna use the top one, this one instead. So let's compare it. Okay, so this is the result. So we got the materials now filled with the new attribute and value, and it will override the color definition from the previous attribute. Okay, it will override this one. So that's the result as a result. All right, now what next? I think you can yet again play with this, and then wait, the light, the entity, you can actually also change for example, this is a cone, right? So I can change the primitive to another primitive, octahedron maybe, and then I just copy this and then replace the previous definition, and then I will get the new object, the new type of object. Okay, so I'm just gonna maybe delete this, and so this is the result of our introduction to inspector. Okay, so again, if you want to modify it again easily, because I believe many of us do not remember all the properties. That's why I also always check the documentation. And or as an alternative, you can use the inspector to check what is the properties of such something that we would like to modify, etc. And copy that and paste it back to the our editor. Okay. So that's all for the inspector. So I'm just gonna commit this. Inspector done. Now let's move to, what time is that now? Okay, we still have a lot of things to learn. Hopefully we can make it done, all of them. Okay, now animation. Right, I need to move to the right again. Okay, as for animation, okay, so far we only have an object, but it's all static. They do not move. Now let's try to move this object. So for example, here let's have the initial state of this module, number 5, animation.html. Okay, so we have 3 objects, red, yellow, and green boxes. Let's try to play with the red one, something that we put in the middle. We want to, like for example, let's try to move its position, which means we translate the box. To do that, we do not need to apply some tag. The animation mechanics live within the entity as attributes, or not attributes, as a component. So I introduced you in the previous module about the components. Now this is the way we use the components. So some of the component that we can apply is animation. Okay, and in here, animation is one of the components that have multiple attributes, just like material and then geometry, the one that we learned from the previous module. Now let's have a look. So let's define the attribute of the component of these animation components. Let's say that we want to animate this box positionally. Okay, so we will do some translation in this matter. So we need to type something like this. The property that we would like to control, that we would like to play, is the position. So we can have a property rotation, property scale, etc. We'll check it later. And then animation basically need at least a target or destination position in this matter, because we want to translate or change its position. So so far we have the initial position in here. Now we need to define the final state or the destination position. So we can type 2 in here, and then let's for example, let's try to move it maybe 2 meters upward. Okay, so it's 0 2 I'm sorry 3 minus 3, so it's gonna be like this. Okay, so we move it 2 meters above. So this is the initial position. But we can also alter the initial position by defining the from properties. So we will just neglect this attribute, this component later in this for now. So if we want to move it, for example, from -3 in the y-axis, on the y-axis, and something like this. So this one is the result. I'm sorry, I need to refresh it. So this is the result. This is the camera. Okay, so basically it's moving from the -3 on y-axis to the 3 positive axis. So yeah, and we can also specify the duration. So in this matter we can use the attribute dur as a duration. For example, 2000 milliseconds or 2 seconds. Okay, or make it slower, 5 seconds maybe. All right, this is 5 seconds. Or make it faster, just 1 second. All right, so that's the way controlling the duration or the time of animation. And then what next? We can also control the loop. So this one is just playing once and then stop, but we can make it forever, something like this, loop through. Wait a moment. Oh, I'm sorry, I think, wait. Yet another problem. I don't know why it's always problem like this. I'm sorry for this. I think this is the problem of my connection. So I need to edit the live share. Here we go. Now let's continue. Let's try the loop through. I need to start the live server. So this is the result. So we can have an infinite loop of animation on our application. And this is not natural. Maybe we can make it like a bounce back. So moving forward, backward, back and forth. We can use this attribute, alternate. Okay. So this is gonna be the result. Okay. The alternate. Okay, and we can also control the easing. If you are the user of Adobe After Effects or Premiere or Flash or Adobe Animation or any other animation software, you know about this. So we can just use easing, and there are a lot of type of ease. You can check on the documentation. Let's try one of them. So this is the easing. So it's kind of, if we do not apply the easing, the animation will be done linearly. But in easing, it's like there is some calculation to make it more natural with some break and acceleration. So for this alternate animation, it will be more natural with the ease out cubic. Okay, so this is the position. If we want to create another type of animation, we can actually create a multiple animation for single object. The way we do it is something like this. So after we type the component name, we type the double underscore and then we give some ID on that. For example, animation rotation, something like this. And then the same, we need to specify the type of the animation and the destination. Let's try to rotate it along the y-axis, so 360-degree on the y-axis, something like this. And then for 2 seconds, loop it, and maybe no need to alternate. So this is the result. Very cool. And then we can specify yet another animation. Just type the animation and then give some ID after the double underscore. Let's say try scaling now. So the way it works is just like the CSS on HTML application that we usually create. The scale. Okay, and then let's make it smaller. The same duration as the rotation, or maybe the same as the the same as a rotation. Oh no, let's make it the same as a translation. Okay, loop it through and make it alternate. I'm sorry, the direction is alternate. All right, so this is the result. All right, and the same, we can also specify the from and to. Maybe this is gonna be the 2 point, something like this. All right, so this is the result. This is too big, I think. I think it's more natural to make it 1 or 1.5. 1.5 is okay. 1.5. Okay, so far so good. So this is the way we animate our object in A-frame. We can wrap this up and move to the next module. Alright, let's move to the next module, which is about the interaction. Give me a minute. Okay, so before we start to type our tag and some component attributes, value, etc., we need to add an extra JavaScript library called frame event set component. So basically we can just Google this. So the component is available on the npm JS package. You can read the documentation over here, and this is the way we use it. So just copy and paste this one. Okay, or just copy this one. I'm sorry, the script part. So this one, let's put it on here. Okay, so this is an extra JavaScript library that is required for this module. Now we have inside the scene we have a 3 box. Let's have a look our current page. So it's number 6 now. Interaction. Okay, we have a red, yellow and green boxes on our page.
Oh, okay.
It seems that we are I'm disconnected. I'm sorry. So can you still see my screen right now? So we are now on the module number 6. Okay, I'm sorry. It seems that I'm disconnected.
Yeah.
All right. So for the module number 5, hopefully it was fine. I'm sorry. I think the internet connection at my home is now got some trouble. Okay. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I will continue the module number 6 about the interaction. So as you can see on the screen, the recording is still on, right? I need to make sure that is the recording on the Zoom is still on. Oh yeah, still on. Good. All right, so let's move to the code. Okay, so we have 3 boxes now. Let's create some animation for these boxes. For example, for this first or the green box, let's create scaling animation for him, for it. The property is scale. Let's make it maybe just make it like a squeezing this way. Okay, it's a taller, getting taller yet getting skinny, so something like this. With the duration is about 2 seconds, and then make it look okay. So okay, let's check a look. So this is the result. Okay, so far. And what next? In VR, actually, if we want to have some interaction, one of the way is by clicking the screen. By clicking the screen, if we use something like Google Cardboard. So that's the way that we want to apply for now. The most basic interaction that we can have on the VR headset, the simplest VR headset, which is the Google Cardboard. And let's try to test to have this animation to be played with some we will define some event listener and event handler. So the handler is basically this animation mechanic, and the listener is we will start the animation basically after we accept some click. Okay, so how to define a click then? We need to include the cursor. So the application that we have right now in here doesn't have any interface at all. This is the VR version of the application. It doesn't have any interface at all. If we want to have some like a circle at the center of our screen, as the one that we usually have in some VR applications, usually when it is deployed on the Google Cardboard, then we need to have a cursor, something like this, a cursor, yes, this way. However, we cannot draw the cursor as a 3D object. Cursor usually attached to the camera, so it's part of what's so-called head-up display. So it's part of the head-up display. Then we need to specify the camera, something like this, and put the cursor inside the camera, something like this. So we have the cursor now. If we click it, for example this one, then it will start to animate. So it's basically the thing that we instruct it based on this attribute. Okay, we can also define, for example, the pause events, like for example when the cursor or the mouse, we call it the mouse, leave the object, and we can resume it back when it's enter the object. So for example, so even though I didn't click it, so I'm just like a hover it, like a mouse over. In this matter, we use this one, mouse enter. It's just like the mouse over in the regular mouse interaction, and some what's so called mouse leave. Okay, so this is one of the interaction that we can have on the A-frame application. All right, then what's next? Let me think. Yeah, sometimes we can also control other object from yet another object. For example, I want to control the yellow box by interacting with the red box. How do we do that? If that's the case, then we cannot use the start events, pause events, something like that, because this method, it only applies to itself. If, for example, let's try to control the yellow through the red, then we need to define yet another component. Okay, so this is not attribute, so this is another component, the component called event set, something like this. And that's why that's what we need from this library actually. Okay, so if we do not include this library, we cannot have some features to control other objects. Okay, we can only control that object through that through some interaction to that object only. So this is necessary to include so that we can use these components. So the event set is like defining a new event listener. I believe that some of you have played with this. And in here, for example, if we want to define the mouse leave, okay, the mouse leave is basically some event mouse leave that is by default is already available on the framework. And then, like for example, if we meet this criteria, this event mouse leave, then we will I'll just gonna make it this way so it's easier for you to read. So when we do the mouse leave, let's try to change the color at first. Before we animate, let's try to change its color, become yellow. So in this case, we actually, for this matter, is actually we're still controlling the itself. So for example, if we, this is mouse leave, right? Yeah, I'm sorry, not yellow, this is green, I'm sorry, RGB. So if we leave the box, then it turns into green. Now let's create another component, event set mouse enter. If we enter the box, something like this, mouse enter, let's change the color back to its original color, which is red actually, right? This one is a red color. Okay, it works, right? Now, in addition to the color change, we also want to apply some rotation, for example, some transformation or some not animation, it's just matter of rotation. So let's say, let's rotate it to the Y and Z axis, something like this, and set it back to the original orientation when we enter it. So something like this. Okay, so far so good. Now let's try to use the same object to control another object. So we are still interacting with the center box, but we want to also apply some change to another object by interacting with this object. We will try to manipulate the yellow one. To do that, we need to create another component. For example, click on the center box. We will utilize the click event and change the color, for example. Also, let's try to change the color on the yellow box. Change it into, oh no, yeah, change it to, for example, purple, maybe red and magenta, AA00AA, and we apply some rotation as well, but now towards the X and the Z. Here we go. This is the difference. Also, we need to, if we want to control another object, we need to specify the target over here, and just type the ID after the hash symbol. So for example, yellow box. Okay, something like this. And of course, we need to define the ID for this object. This is yellow box. All right, let's have a try. Click. Okay, so you only apply once. Let me refresh it again. When I release the click, it changes the other object, so it works. So that's the interaction, the basic interaction that we can have on, for example, the Google Cardboards. And we can also apply the same interaction. This is a very simple interaction to the more advanced head-mounted display, just like the Samsung Gear, Oculus Go, Oculus Rift, etc. All right, let's commit this one. Done. Interaction done. I'm sorry, I just make it as simple as possible to make it quick. Okay, now number 7. Number 7 is about this ECS. You can check it on the A-frame documentary. So basically, this is a very common methodology, the in-entity component system. So this is something like we learn about the object-oriented programming, that right? This is also part of the programming method. The A-frame is actually used this for their framework. Okay, you can learn the more detail about the this is the Minecraft, so the detail about the this thing on its documentation. All right, so let's move back to the Visual Studio Code now. I introduced you about this concept while explaining about the inspector and the previous modules actually. So I'm just gonna make it quick. So for example, we have a box. This box can be represented through a regular method, okay, a box, something like this, or through a entity method, okay, something like this. I'm sorry, maybe I need to, yeah, okay, let me just type it here with some components attribute, with the attribute of primitive, something like this, box, okay, and then the material is the color. So it's basically the same, okay, as you can see in here. And if I want to apply this color, then I need to use this color. Let me paste it here. So this is the entity, and then the position. All right, so by doing this, number 7, we can have a 2 identical box, okay? So I think, yeah, hopefully you have you understand that, because actually I have taught this concept implicitly in the module number 4 about the inspector. Okay, now also apply the same. Entities, it can be mesh or object, and it can be light, something like light, okay? If we want to define light through an entity, this is how we do it, okay? Instead of using geometry, we can use light components, and then type the over here, okay, type the point, the color is for example red, and then yeah, I think this one is enough, and its position, something like this. Yeah, I think that's all. I'm sorry, this should be equal. Yeah, this one. This is the correct one. So the light is coming from that direction. Okay, good. So it's a very simple concept. So the ECS is just try to reintroduce the concept that we have just learned on the inspector. So I'm just gonna skip this. This is okay. ECS done. Now next one. Sometimes maybe you want to decide just using some models from some resources that you can find on the internet, or maybe you are already familiar with the Blender, Maya, 3ds Max, etc., and you want to just create your model on that software and then import it to Airframe. Will it be possible? It's possible. So this is how we do that. And for this matter, we are going to, yeah, we need to, this is the component that we not, I think this is the same with the previous one, right? Yeah, this one. Just include this again. Event set component. Oh no, we do not need this. I think, yeah, I think this is wrong. I'm sorry about this. We do not need this. Instead we need the A-frame extra. Try to find this one on the Google. Yeah, this one. Oh, I just use the npm. Yeah, this one. Use this. All right, now do you have the model? Actually, you can use any model. You can have a lot of model for free from this sketchfab.com if you do not want to create any. We can have a lot of very cool free object that you can just download and then select the GLB or GLTF as an the file type. Wait, download over here. Yeah, GLTF. Download this type of file. You can pick any models that you want. Just visit sketchfab.com and then pick any free available object that is provided there, that is given there, and then download the GLTF version or GLTF type of files. Once you've done that, put on your folder. Put on your folder accordingly. So here I'm just gonna put it here, and if it has some extra folders to put there or to put its textures, then just provide it accordingly. Here I'm just gonna use the resource that I have prepared, notebook GLTF. It's not really beautiful, I just want to show you that it works. If you want to make more satisfying results, you can just find your favorite model from the Sketchfab first. Okay, so the way we ensure that our A-frame application will be able to provide or can serve the model for us is by putting them in the image, etc., into the asset. The previous model, when we talk about the texture, we just simply put the image tag inside the asset. But for now, we need this specific tag to include our GLTF object. So once you download your model, you can put on your workspace, put on some particular folders, and then refer to that path. Put it here. So asset item, and then you can put any ID as you want. Since I will include some, oh gosh, again, I'm sorry guys, this is some technical problem again with my internet connection. Let me go to the Discord. I need to update the live share. Here we go. I think it's because we are limited to just 30 connection. I think for the live share. So once it's past the 30 people joining my connection, my live share, then there's some problem occurs. All right, so this is the asset. The asset is done now. To include the object, we can actually do it in several ways. One of the ways by using GLTF. There's a this one, a GLTF model. So it's just directly use the tag, something like this, and then put the src, the component, so something like this. I'm sorry, I think, wait. If you use the GLTF model, I think you do not necessarily to include this. Let me just comment this for now. So this is the way if we want to directly use the GLTF tag. Alright, so we need to specify the source and of course the position. For example, 0x0 y0 z minus 5, for example, and then apply some rotation. 0, let's turn it maybe 90 degree. All right. Where is that? Okay, over here. I need to move to another things 3D model. Hey, no. What is that? The model import, right? Sorry, I always forget that. I need to rerun the live server. What time is it now? Oh no, almost 12:30. Okay, this is the laptop. I think there's some problem with the texture, so I'm just forgot it. Hopefully you can have nicer one on your application. I believe that I did something wrong with the model, etc. when I download it or when I include the, so okay, just forgot it. Or maybe just, oh, maybe I can check. Maybe I can check now. Wait, where's the GLTF? This is the models. Maybe the texture is not included. Low poly. Do I have low poly? Yes. Oh, low poly netbook. This is the problem. Low poly body. I think this is the problem. Yeah, we need to make sure this one. So I think the materials, I need to make sure that the name should be the same. Yeah, this is the problem. So which one is this is the body, this is the screen. Yeah, I think I just need to make sure that the name is applied the same. Hopefully this is how it works. This is the screen, and the other, no. And this is the screen. Huh? Already exists? Really? Oh, this is the body. Okay. I'm sorry. Close it. This is the body. Does it work? It doesn't work. I just forget it. Or maybe the normal is also should be the same name. This is for the screen. I'm not quite sure, but it should be this way. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. Normal. Okay, just forgot it. I think it's just matter of the naming file in here. So let me go back to the HTML file. Okay, so this is one of the model that we have successfully imported in our application. The other way will be using the entity. And in this matter, we can also use this way. So I'm just gonna use the entity, something like this, and then instead of using the src, we need to use a gltf model. So this is the only difference. The position, the rotation is the same, but maybe to make it difference, so I'm just gonna remove the rotation and set the position is to the right. Okay, right? And then yeah, actually we can turn on the animation by typing this one, animation mixer. So animation mixers, I believe that is come from the iframe extras. So yes, I got this animation. And if you want to also apply the same to the entity, you can also do the same way. Yes, okay. Now if, for example, usually when you create a model in a Blender, 3ds Max, etc., you usually include more than one animations on your model. Then to select which animation that you would like to run, I think we need the help of inspector in here. Control Alt I. I need to click on the gltf. Yes, over here. Wait. This is the animation, right? Why I didn't see it here? It should be over here. If you have more than wait, I a bit forget about how to know the animation, or maybe we need to check on the, maybe as an alternative we can check on the model over here and check the animation. Okay, this one, this is the name of animation. So if you have a couple animations inside your model, then you may need to specify the name of its animation. For example, in here, but for this laptop, it's actually, it only has one animation. I can do it this way. So the name of the clip is the armature action, and we can specify the loop, ping pong, for example. So it can be that, something like this. Boom. But it's already ping pong. I think we need yet another type of animation. For this animation already ping pong, so it doesn't have any obvious results as the difference. All right, so for the, so this is if we directly include the path into the tag. But if you want, for example, using the A asset as I introduced in the beginning, so this is how we do that. Like for example, this is still the same. I'm just gonna use the entity for this matter. The gltf model, instead of typing the path, something like this, I'm just gonna use the ID laptop. So this is basically the same because I have already defined the model as an asset in here with the ID of laptop. And for other part, maybe I'm just gonna copy and paste this one. The position, maybe I'm just gonna put it on the left. Okay, with some rotation to make it different. Let's make it 180, something like this. Okay, we have a 3 laptop. Okay, so that's it, how to include a 3D model to Airframe. It's a very simple comparing to 3JS or even the WebGL version. Okay, so that's all. Now let's move to the next one, the cursor. So I'm just gonna commit this one. Successfully import the model. Okay, now let's talk about the cursor. So the cursor is something that we have on the center of the screen, so we have play with that when we learn about the animation, right? So this one, let's try to run it first. This is the cursor. Okay, so we have 3 boxes on our screen. Now let's see. As you still remember that if we want to include some cursor, we need to put it inside the camera. Okay, but for now I will not use the regular A cursor, but instead I will, so previously we used this one, right? By doing this, we can only have the default appearance of the cursor, but if we want to, like, say a custom cursor, then it's suggested to use the entity. Okay, the entity, and we as the component we specify it as a cursor fuse through with some for additional before we move the fuse, maybe I need to show you first how does it look. Oh gosh, not yet successfully. Yeah, I think we need to specify the geometry because I'm sorry, not this one. This is wait. I think I'm wrong. So it should be, it's not cursor. Instead, we use another term as a raycaster. Yes, raycaster, and we specify the objects as a class. We have 3 boxes. If we want to have to ensure that these objects should be interact with the raycaster that we will create, then we need to specify, I think, the class, just like in CSS, for example, like more let's create a class clickable, and then on our entity we need to specify, for example, we want to specify it to this one. Yeah. This is using the raycaster, I think. Let me try. I bit forget about this module. Not this, the part of the. I think, yeah, we need to specify as a class something like this. It's a clickable. Yeah. Okay. Just put it on the box on the center. Definition, I will put it on the box on the center, and then okay, and then for the geometry the geometry. We create a geometry for this entity. This is a raycaster, so for this entity will work as a raycaster. The primitive will be box with some width, make it smaller than usual, with the height is also 0.2, the depth, so it's a basically a cube. Okay, and let's specify the material, which is one attribute, so I think just gonna make it this way. Let's make it red and just type it red. Okay, something like this. And set the position on a 0, 0, -2, so it's away, -2 units or 2 meters away from the camera. So I think this is good enough. Let's check whether it works. Does it work? I need to check. Number 9, cursor. Yeah, so this is the object that we have. So we have a, if I click it here, it's nothing happened. Okay, so we need to specify the okay, when we click, do we have the animation in here? Yes. Give me a moment, guys. So it will start to animate when oh, because the click the cursor. Oh yeah, we need to specify the cursor, I think. So let's see. In addition to raycaster, we need to also define the cursor here. I think something like this. Oh yeah, okay, it works. So I need to click this first. It doesn't work. So the only object that works with the click is the one that is defined, categorized as the clickable class. So only the one in the center. So this one, okay. It will follow this one, right? So but sometime, guys, if we want to play some interaction in a VR application, people will prefer to have some interaction that is called fusing, the one that I just typed it before. So it's like a stop or freeze your motion, your eyesight on some point for maybe 2 seconds, and then it will basically it represents the similar behavior as click. Okay, so instead of using click, we use fuse. So we need to define this fuse as true over here, and then we need to define the time up. How long should we wait? 2 seconds. So for example, this one, yeah, I do not press any button in here. So if I put it here and fuse it for 2 seconds, then it will start to rotate. So this is another way to define an advanced cursor instead of the regular cursor that is only at work with the click. Alright, so somehow we expect that our cursor also changes when some fusing is active. When the fusing is successful, we want to have some animation within the red box itself, within our raycaster, within our cursor. How do we do that? The way we do that is basically the same. when we want to apply some animation on the object. And in this matter, just name the animation ID as a fusing, and then set, for example, let's play with the scale, and let's specify it from the original scale to, before we specify the duration, to the something, make it smaller, 1/10, and then the duration will be 2, yeah, about 2 seconds, and the start events is fusing. Okay, so it's more natural now, something like this. All right, cool. So when it is hover the clickable object, it will animate its object, make it smaller, 1/10 as we instruct on this animation. Then I think we also need to define the mouse leaf. So when it leaves the clickable object, then we need to scale it back to 1:1:1. Okay, with the default duration is okay, I think, and it will start when mouse leaf. All right. Pretty cool. Okay, so it works. What's more, to make it more cooler, then I think I need to what's next? I think so far is so good. If we want to apply to all the object, then we just simply define it as a clickable as well. Yeah, this is how it works actually. So the left and the center box is categorized as a clickable, but the other one on the right side is not. So it's more controllable if we use this kind of way to define our cursor. Okay, so it seems that we are still half to go, so we haven't yet finished our workshop. Maybe we can I will create a video. Okay, so I will create a video and upload it to my ITS classroom, and to complete the whole workshop, and later you may watch the video to see the rest of this workshop activity. Okay, I'm sorry that I cannot finish all of them today because it's quite a lot of things to cover, and there's some technical difficulties on my side, and so I cannot make it punctual. Alright, so I think that's all. So I'm just gonna commit this one as for the last one, because it's already 12:47. It's time to go. This one is number 9, and cursor down. Before I close the today's session, maybe I will give you some opportunity to ask if you want. We still have 2 minutes. And for the, as I told you, for the rest of the module, I will create a recording and then upload it to my ITS classroom. Alright, so do you have any question? If not, then please allow me to close our session and dismiss this class. We will see you again next week. Maybe not on Monday because I asked Habib to adjust his schedule to make sure that he can deliver his workshop about the Unity in an appropriate and comfortable time for him. Okay, thank you very much, guys. See you again next week. Bye bye. Good afternoon. Assalamualaikum.
Good afternoon, Mr.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yo.
Thank you, sir.